Okay, you guys, year two, this is 16H. We're going to talk about that linear regression. Now, you guys have actually used the correct place in your calculator in the last lesson. So when you go to stats, after you make your list, go to stats, go to calculate line reg, right? Line at reg after it, because we look for that correlation coefficient of r. Well, what also was on there was the a and the b from the ax plus b, or mx plus b from a line equation of y equals mx plus b. So a is your slope and b is your y-intercept. So what they're doing here is the calculator's already doing it for you, and it's establishing the relationship between your two variables. And they're using the least squares regression method to do this. Now, obviously, some of us for our IAs, we went through the whole entire rigmarole about forming those equations and showing all the different pieces of work and how we came about those. But for this course, we do not need to do that. So we're just going to use our calculators. And so that's going to be a fairly easy way to finish up our chapter. So the thing is that forms the line of best fit that we have here, and I call that the regression line. Now remember, there's an independent variable and our dependent variable. That is nothing new to us. Remember, the independent variable is the one that you control, and the dependent variable is dependent on what you put in. So it's not something that we control directly, like the input. The next slide here, you guys can read through it, and there's two different types of way of using your data is, and I'm probably going to say these wrong, but interpolating and extrapolating, or extrapolating, I think is what it really comes down to. I think that might be the word. So what we have here is that if you're trying to use the values within the data that you collected. So a lot of us on our IAs did something about sleep and test scores, or fast food restaurants and obesity in the United States. What you can do is, if you're looking for, like, if I've gotten 6 hours of sleep, that would be some number that you probably collected within your data. Your equation would be covering that, even though, it may be somewhere, over here as a data point. Your line of best fit or regression line will be here, and it covers data from this input all the way to these inputs. Now remember, that could be a wide range of things. So it could be the hours. So what if 6 hours was right here? So that's interpolating versus extrapolating. To extrapolate means, well, what happens if I just happen to be really super tired that day and I slept for 20 hours? Well, 20 hours is going to be way out here on any particular graph. Most people don't sleep for 20 hours, so your data would not be covering that. And so you could take this line of best fit and you could extrapolate or figure out what would happen way over here. Be off the charts. But we still can use it, and you guys have for your science classes, and we've done lots of these different things in our algebra classes or even geotrig classes. So that's what the two different types here. One's in the data, one's outside of the data. So you treat the results from outside with caution, because your data does not necessarily mean that it has to happen. So the trend could definitely change once you get past your data. So the last example here is we got math scores and the number of hours that you were revising, or aka maybe studying is what they're calling that. Which one's the independent and which one's the dependent? I think if you're looking at this, to me, you control the number of hours that you can revise. Your score depends on those hours. So actually, I think they're kind of tricky here, to me, they put them in the wrong order. So this is my independent, this is my dependent, which is your score. Your score will depend on that. And so they put this list with a big old switcheroo there. So list 1 and list 2, and then you go to line reg. Make sure you clear your list, guys. It's very important. It's also very important that you have your I draw a blank. Let me take a look at this. Now I figured it out. Diagnostic on. So make sure you have your diagnostic on. It's always just a good idea that you always go to your catalog. We've done this before. It's in the other video as well, so make sure to revisit that. Make sure it's always on, especially if your calculator was ever reset for a different test or you put new batteries in. So make sure that is on just in case we ever need to do things. And once you put that in stats, go to stats, and then go to line reg, and you will have an A and B value, and hopefully they match up with the answer they have here. So you guys now have the option, or have the ability, sorry, not option to do 16H homework, and that is the last lesson of the chapter, so we can start moving on. Looking forward to seeing us finish this book. Have a great day.